Hello, good evening.
Hi, hello.
Hello, good evening, Putri.
Good evening, King. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Yeah.
Great.
Salamat malam to all the viewers
Yes,
of
selamat.
this live session.
Selamat malam, King. But before we start, I'm just going to explain the session today in Indonesian language. I hope you don't mind.
That's okay.
Great, great. So ya, selamat malam semuanya. Selamat berjumpa lagi dengan kami di program 100% Stay at Home. Dan malam ini kita akan ngobrol dengan King Catoy dari Filipina. Dia adalah video lead untuk film-film terutama juga yang berkolaborasi film-film pendek nanti yang akan juga kami tayangkan dan premier di 100% Manusia Film Festival. Nah, ini akan sangat menarik sesi malam ini karena kita akan ngobrol bareng dengan King dan juga kita akan sedikit membuka line up sedikit giving a little bit of reveal of some titles yang akan kita umumkan besok di press conference 100% Manusia Film Festival. Dan kalau kalian ingin bertanya, silakan. Kalian bisa bertanya dalam bahasa Indonesia. Nanti saya akan menerjemahkan dalam bahasa Inggris kepada King. Kalian bisa langsung kirim pertanyaannya dengan menuliskan di kolom ataupun bisa juga langsung kirim ke 100% manusianya. Jadi nanti bisa kami bantu jawab. Dan malam ini kita akan ngobrol seputar film pendek, terutama film pendek yang kebetulan sudah dibuat dan diproduksi dan dibantu untuk diproduksi oleh King dan teman-teman dari Engage Media. So yes, King. So I just explained about this
That's okay.
a little bit about what we are going to do tonight and to our audience here in Indonesia. So there will be also there will be also a gift for our special merchandise for those who has the best question. So please.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so now we are going to first of all, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Meninaputri Wismurti. I'm the film program director and also the co-founder of 100% Manusia Film Festival. And right now, we are honored to have King Catoy. He is the video lead of the Tech Tales film that also collaborated with Engage Media, and he also have his own project called Cinemata that probably you could explain a little bit more, and maybe you could start with introducing yourself.
Yes. Thank you, Putri, for the very nice introduction. I'm the video lead of Engage Media, and aside from being involved with video productions of Engage Media, I also manage video-related projects. So I'm the producer and project manager of Tech Tales, and I'm also managing Cinemata. Cinemata is the open technology video platform that is maintained and managed by Engage Media. So that's me, and I'm based in the Philippines. And for the past many years before joining Engage Media, I was part of the many activist video collectives here in the Philippines. I was part of groups that made short documentaries, music videos for the marginalized sectors and groups here in the Philippines. So that's me.
So yeah, that's you. And we met a couple months ago, I think, right in September during the event.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So now that's really interesting. Maybe we could start first with the Cinemata, the platform itself. Does it also receive submission, or is it only available for people in Philippines?
Uh, Cinemata is it's an open technology platform, and the videos that we have in there, cinemata.org, are user contributed. The main focus of the platform is our social issue films in the Asia Pacific. Of course, you have corporate platforms out there where you can post cute dogs or cats or make tutorials, and of course, it also has you know good films to watch, and but at the same time, it's just a huge platform, and at the same time we feel that you know um, privacy and information of users are not safeguarded by these big tech platforms. So that's the idea behind Cinemata. We felt that there should be a particular video platform that focuses on social issues.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, even to narrow it further, we felt that it should focus on issues from the Asia Pacific. So actually, Cinemata is used to be called engagemedia.org. Engage Media, maybe some of the listeners will know, it started as a video platform that focuses on social issue films. But along the way, we felt that there's a very big need for the understanding of digital rights. So along with our program Video for Change, we felt that digital rights are important and we should advocate for that in the region. And same goes with open technology. So those are essentially the three advocacies and focus area of Engage Media here in the region. So I hope that answers your question.
So this is very interesting because both of the platform that you work on, the Cinemata focusing is also on the social issues and environmental, right? And then as for the Engage Media is focusing more to social issues. So do they sometimes like in conjunction, or sometimes you also put everything together?
Hmm. In the case of Cinemata, it's basically two advocacies are highlighted in there. That
Mm,
would be video for change and
yeah.
open technology. Because with Cinemata, we made sure that the technology is available for all.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, if you go to
Yeah.
gitlab.com, there's a space there called Media CMS. And Media CMS is basically the technology behind Cinemata. And Engage Media, we made sure that the technology we have is something that can be used by learning institutions, similar organizations like us. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, later on, we will talk about tech deals. And the interesting bit about tech deals is that I think for a long time, this is the Engage Media project that focused on our three advocacies. So you have Video for Change there,
Mm-hmm.
because of course it talks about social issues in the Asia Pacific. Of course, it zooms into digital rights as well, one of our advocacies, and of course, open technology. Because at some point, especially in the coming months, the videos will be available for public viewing in cinemata.org. So
Mm.
TechTales is really ready for change, digital rights, and open technology.
Mhm. Great. And as I see, so everyone here in the audience, you can also go to cinemata.org to see the contents that they have, and also the short films, also the videos that they have, that is actually right now being screened there. Just now, to come back to our main topic tonight is about programming the short film itself. While we're talking about short films, we also talk about the Tactiles films, the Tactiles collection that just has been released internationally by end of October, right, King? So
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
maybe you could tell us a little bit more about the event in by end of the October, and also about a little
Yeah.
bit more about Tactiles.
Yeah, we launched the film collection last October 30. So the collection is composed of eight films about digital rights in the Asia Pacific. So we have a film from the Philippines, from Indonesia, from Thailand, from Cambodia, India, and Australia. And of course, we were also able to produce a film from Myanmar while working with an anonymous filmmaker. So, yeah, going back a bit and discussing the rationale of tech deals, uh, we felt that here in the Asia Pacific, and then of course Southeast Asia, uh, given the extent of
Mm-hmm.
big tech platforms in here, e-commerce, the use of surveillance technology, the growing use of technology to
Mm-hmm.
suppress the rights of people. It was very sad that there aren't much media and communication materials about it.
Mm.
And of course, same with films. Um, Given the extent and power of the things I mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
it we felt there weren't much materials about digital rights
Yeah.
in the Asia Pacific. So Engaged Media for some time now has been trying to look for an opportunity for funding to produce films that
Mm.
discusses the issues I mentioned. And 3 years ago, we had the opportunity to produce digital rights films in Myanmar. So we were able to produce a documentary and an animated film. And it was a successful initiative. So I guess Sida, the main funder of this project, gave us the opportunity to produce 8 films.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I guess one of some of the interesting things behind how we did this was
Yeah.
we assembled a team of advisory board members, digital rights experts, and at the same time, film experts.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Dr. Adam Fish from Australia, Sam Silva, a good communicator and technologist, a lawyer from India, Vidushi Marda, and also a technologist. And of course, we worked with Veronica Kursukawa, of course, a film academician from Indonesia, and Jewel Maranan, of course, film festival organizer and prominent documentary filmmaker here in the Philippines. So we received an overwhelming number of applicants early this year, a total of about 117 applications. I mean, it was in the middle of a pandemic that time. And I suppose filmmakers wanted a way to be able to make films. And of course, for me, I've always interpreted we were also trying to find purpose during that time. Thus, the overwhelming number of applications. And going back briefly, the advisory board members help us narrow down the selection to, in the end, what will turn out to be 8 filmmakers. So, yep. It was not very easy because each time we thought that this pandemic will end, or at some point, community lockdowns will ease down and will
Yes.
allow for easier filmmaking. But the filmmakers we were working with started their projects around February
Oh,
of
okay.
2021,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, in under very difficult circumstances, they were producing their films. There were a lot of changes, lots of adjustments, and of course, like most film initiatives around that time, we needed to adjust the deadline.
Yeah.
And of course, yeah, our funder did understand. And so by October 30, the films are ready, and currently we're launching community screenings here in Asia Pacific, and we're very thankful that 100% Anisaya Film Festival is one of the earliest collaborators of this project.
Yes. Thank you also to you guys for making these films. So from hand, so like you received a lot of thousand submissions or 100 submissions, right? And it is
117.
170. Wow, 170 ideas to be produced. So that's really credible. Yes, and I'm glad that you are. When I saw the films and when I see Veronica's name, Vero is a good friend of mine. We grew up together, actually working in the film festival in Indonesia before she moved to Harvard. So so it was good to know that to know some familiar name in behind all these
Yes.
projects. And I was just like wondering because we are talking about the programming on short films, and you said that the board also or them they also help you to narrow it down to these eight films, eight projects, eight
Yes.
short films. What were the criteria at that time? Like whether you found something that probably because I when I see all those eight films, they are very various. They have their own issue, but of course they have this big theme of digital rights that you were earlier explaining, and then also all related to the freedom of expression. And this is also something that can also goes further in terms of layer of human rights. So that's why I was just wondering what makes you guys decided to finally choose these eight projects to be developed into the short films.
Of course, we accepted, we required applicants to submit a logline, a
Mm-hmm.
synopsis, and of course, past works in their proposal. So the strength of their idea in mind, the film that they want to produce, and the
Mm-hmm.
reason why they want to make it, of course,
Ah,
was very important. And
yeah.
of course, for my part, I took effort to watch the past works of the many filmmakers that submitted applications. Of course, I was working with the team, and during that time, it was a fun time at work because I was just watching films and taking down notes.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, for the part of engaged media, we needed to be decisive with regards to geographical spread. Geographical spread was important.
Mm.
Um, it was very difficult because, for example, in Indonesia, we received two or three very strong applications.
Mm.
But given the limitations of the available funds that we have,
Right.
we needed to prioritize geographical spread. And
Mm-hmm.
then, of course, at the same time, we also needed to consider the particular digital rights issues in the film. Of course, there were many films and applications about corporate social media platforms because,
Mm-hmm.
of course, that is the one thing that is very familiar to most people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there were also interesting applications, yeah, about biometrics, about how the government is using, very personal data
Yes.
in terms of controlling sections of the population.
True.
And then, of course, there's also submissions about the history of the internet, at least more particularly for social movements in the region. So it was those factors, the strength of their proposal, of course, past works, and
Mm-hmm.
then geographical spread,
Right.
and of course, being decisive about at least trying to depict digital rights in its various issues, and not just solely about corporate social media platforms.
Mm-hmm. And were you also consider? I mean, I also have another film festival where we open actually a kind of a short film pitching program, where and then during this kind of process, we when we did the process of selection, we will also consider about whether the project is doable or not, because sometimes, as you know, submission have very imaginative, very creative.
Mhm.
But we also need to adapt with the situation at the moment, where, as you earlier also said, that the production could be such a hassle in this time like this. Were you also consider about that, like the doable of the shooting, for example, or since the lockdown, I'm sure it still happens within these countries.
Yeah, of course, the last 30 applications, all of them we interviewed. And of
Ah.
course, we had the opportunity to discuss more, ask questions, and then at some point we needed to narrow down the number to
Mm-hmm.
last 12, and then eventually the final six. And then, of course, at some point, much prioritization were given to Myanmar, because at that time of the application,
Yes.
we were not receiving applications. I mean, it was the peak of the coup. So we also needed to find a way. We took an effort to be able to find a willing filmmaker who was, had the time and opportunity and willingness to do it. Of course,
Yeah.
with guidance from the advisory board members.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also true that along the way, of course, we already have selected films, and we were very confident with the proposals that they made. But at the same time, given the circumstance that we're in, it's very important to be ready for changes and to support, to support the filmmakers when such changes needed to be made. It's true that, for example, we were expecting a straight documentary, almost TV-like, from one of the participants, and that. We like that kind of film category as well. It's
Mm-hmm.
something that can be more understandable to the rest of the population, because we already had a more another verite documentary in the pool of films. But along the way, given the lockdown in her country, um, it was a shift from straight normal documentary to an animated documentary. And of course, along the way, we needed to make online calls, and of course, the usual process when you're producing a film: request for a script,
Yeah.
provide comments in the script, and of course, make inquiries if this it's going to be doable and all that. So there were many yeah, it was really, like it wasn't a straight trip. It was really, it was like traveling by the sea with, waves of various sizes. Sometimes it's smooth sailing because at some point filmmakers will be able to, really hit that window of opportunity to shoot
Yes.
when
Yeah.
it's doable, when it's possible because of an ease of community lockdown in the
Yeah.
particular places they want to shoot. But at the same time, there are also circumstances that okay, we just need to postpone everything because unfortunately there's a
It,
delay because of
yes,
ongoing community lockdown and so on and so forth.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine watching your the tactiles films, your films. It is basically something that's going to be challenging the shooting period, especially the one from Myanmar with all the coup, and then also the one in Philippines. The I will not say the. I will only reveal the titles at the end. So, but that was I think that was very interesting choices in terms of the 8 films that we have watched. So for everyone here, the audience, so from the 8 films that Tactiles made, there are 4 films that are going to be selected to be premiered in Indonesia in our festival. And the titles, I will reveal the titles by end of our discussion later on. And then tomorrow, all the titles of the 100% Manusia Film Festival will also going to be publicly announced, so that you can, and then also you can start to book the tickets. It's all for free of charge, and you can watch later on the scheduled date of the film itself, and during our festival that will start on the 25th of November until the 1st of December. So, yeah, so from all these 8 films, what was the biggest challenge? I mean, aside from the production, I can imagine the hassle doing the shooting production during the lockdown, or probably the funding, or probably also the communication because you cannot meet them in personal. So, what was the biggest challenge, King, while programming and also producing these short films?
I think I think the biggest challenge would be understanding the fact that the filmmaker needed to pull out. Because the one of the filmmakers that we selected at some point realized that shooting under COVID circumstances for for a short narrative film was just very difficult. The filmmaker realized that there's a very big responsibility in terms of ensuring your production crew, your actor, and the family members that you're going to go home to at some point will be safe from COVID. Um,
Yes,
one of the filmmakers have this kind of reflection at some
right.
point. And of course, as the producer, making research as to how film production crew are adjusting to COVID, I can only research much and give recommendations, because at the same time, um, they are the ones who know better,
Yes,
and we needed to respect that. I needed to understand that, and of course, yeah, I mean, at some point, part ways with this, with the filmmaker, and of course, we wanted to ensure that, yeah, we have 8 films. I'm imagining that at some point, we will be able to, yeah, inform and let our funder understand that, only 7 will be possible given the very difficult circumstances that we're in.
yes.
But yeah, we just tried. We, of course, through the help of the advisory board, and at some point, really just much later in the schedule, we
Yes.
were able to work with another filmmaker who had a ready proposal already and was in the initial stages of production.
Mm-hmm.
Thus, we were able to complete the 8 films that we wanted to produce for Tech Tales.
Yeah.
I think I haven't shared that information to anyone else, but I guess for me, that was one of the most difficult moments. But
Yes.
at the same time, in the end, it turned out well, and now we have 8 films that Engage Media is, of course, very proud of producing.
Yes. And I'm happy, and I am grateful that you guys finally made it to produce these films, especially because they're very voicing they're voicing so much about humanity and human rights, not only in terms of, I mean, I know that I understand that the idea was actually to do based on the digital rights and also like what you earlier mentioned, but then it goes deeper to that. What the filmmakers have achieved in these 8 short films, they have already achieved more than just portraying about digital rights. For example, like the one in Myanmar, it's this is something, when you guys told me about this and we were first discussing about the collaboration that we had, I was very much intrigued about this issue because no one knows how to make a film I mean, in times like that. I understand about the coup. I mean, we had it before in Indonesia back in 1998, but it was so hard also for us here to do that, and it was and I felt that it is still important to support all these filmmakers to voice out their expression, their films too, even though they could only do it in anonymous, and how to ensure their safety. This is something that you must have like a plan in the back of your mind. I mean, how 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 how, how did you manage to do that?
Mm, of course, many of the ways of working with under this kind of circumstances um, are very familiar to Engage Media. Of course, Engage Media also facilitates the digital rights trainings to
Right.
journalists and human rights organizations in the region. Actually, before formally joining Engage Media, I was a participant in their digital rights trainings for alternative media practitioners. So we, of course, we're just using the tactics and strategies that we use in the digital rights trainings that we facilitate. And we, of course, have articles. We have uh, we have guides that are particular for filmmakers and journalists,
Yes.
with regards to how to be secured and safe while filming or while producing film in
Yeah.
their respected conflict areas. But it's also true that there really are just moments at night, right before I sleep, when I also feel anxious. I also feel, of course, there are many possibilities under difficult circumstances, and there were also numerous articles about journalists being arrested, or a prominent filmmaker and producer, even actors and actresses, being put in prison by the military junta. So each time I, of course, see the news of that type in my newsfeed, I really just, I also get scared, and of course, there were times that I also needed to make quick reflections as to, hey, are we doing the right thing?
Yeah.
But yeah, given the particular circumstances of our transaction and communication with the anonymous filmmaker, I was confident that there was a window of opportunity to explore and to continue the production of the film. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can only feel your hesitant and anxiety. I mean, for me, just to watch it, I have already anxiety. I cannot.
Yeah.
I cannot completely feel when you are doing the production with them. I'm sure that you are also having this kind of thoughts, like you said, and when you're waking up and you were thinking about them, and then when you see news, it's something that relates to them. So this is something that I very admire from you guys, to do this kind of bravery, to have this kind of bravery to pull out such things. Then also, one thing that interesting from these short films are also parts of the issues that probably less heard here in Indonesia. For example, for example, in Panulukan, in Crossroads. So this is one of the film, guys, that going to be a screen. So I'm just going to announce all the tactile films that going to be screened in the festival. So one of them is actually from Philippines, called Panulukan or Crossroads, and this portrayed a very it's a very harsh situation that the Philippines faced during, well, until now, I believe, about what happened in Philippines. So I was just wondering, because I understand, I speak a little bit with Ricardo, and he was like, thanks to English media, this film can be made, because no one would ever want to fund it. Such film like this. So I was so. This is why I was also thinking that, if like, how brave you guys are to fund this kind of film. So when it was released internationally, by end of October, does it have an impact on you guys, or even the filmmakers that related?
Uh, of course, from the very beginning, in my conversations with Richard Gaspi,
Mm-hmm.
the director of Panulukan, of course, I wanted to understand his willingness to make this film. And for him, um, it was very personal. His brother, one way or another, was a victim of this so-called war on drugs by President Duterte. And I can really feel his commitment and, his commitment to produce this film.
Mm-hmm.
And my knowledge of Richard's work is from way back. I mean, perhaps about 15 years ago, we
Oh
were
wow.
these young filmmakers who produced this film collection called Rights. So we produced a series of public service announcements about the worsening state of human rights under the presidency of then Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, who were targeting political activists. So that convinced me that Richard is ready to produce such a film, and that opportunities like Tech Tales is very important for him. So yeah, believing that he's ready and really wanted to produce the film, we were we were comfortable in supporting him in making Panulukan. Yeah.
Yes. Uh, so for everyone who just joined, we're talking about the short films at the Tactile Selection, produced by the English Media with King Catoy, the video lead, and we were just talking about the, how would I say? I would not say. I don't want to say consequences. I don't want to make everyone afraid of making these short films about human rights. But there are also factors that you need to consider, because this is, I mean, when you talk about human rights, of course, you talk about security, you talk about what King Katoy has already explained, the digital rights. You have to really you have to really consider a lot of things before you could produce your films, and then also you could program the films itself. And in terms of programming short films, that being our theme tonight, from my part, is basically to see which films that reveal or have similar concerns that we would like to voice out there, and also we would like to screen in Indonesia. That, for example, we were talking about Panulukan Crossroads. This is also one of the short film, one Philippines films that just recently produced. It was produced this year in February. Started in February, right? The project was started in February. Yes, and this is going to be premiered in Indonesia during the 100% Manusia Film Festival. And this film is talking about war on drugs, the policy that has been taken by the President Duterte. But this also resemble, well, why for from our part, when we are programming the short films or we're selecting, this resembles of what happened in Indonesia back then during 1965, 1980s. So everything that related on such topics and can be used by the people who is in power or the dictator to do violation towards human rights. So this is something that could happen not only in Philippines but also in Indonesia and other part of the world. And
Yeah,
the
I
rest, sorry.
Yeah, I think also one thing I want to add about Panulupan is that, of course, the main focus of Tech Tales is digital rights. And what we liked about Richard DeCosta's film is that component of disinformation,
Yes.
online disinformation, to support this so-called war on drugs.
Yeah.
Here in the Philippines, everybody knows that there are there's a various serious effort. There are hired employees using call centers, as we call it,
Yeah.
to really spread massive disinformation to hopefully sway the public opinion towards the war on drugs here in the Philippines. So the interesting bit about Richard's film is that the intersection of those two things are reflected in this film. And of course, disinformation, and more particularly online disinformation, is very relevant to the Philippines because at some point it was one of the strongest ways that elected public officials in 2016.
Yeah.
And of course, in the next 7 months or 6 months, we will have a new president. And there are so many online things happening at the moment because we're nearing the elections. And yep, we're hoping that, yeah, besides war on drugs, Richard's film will help people reflect about, you know, the factuality and truth of
Yes.
the information they're seeing in their newsfeed, given the upcoming 2022 Philippine elections.
Yes. I hope so too. I think this is the beautiful part of creating a film that could touch people's hearts and hopefully could make change, even just a small ripple of wave, but then but then still
Yes.
it can
Yeah.
also help with something to make a change. And so we were talking also earlier about a film, a new short film from Myanmar. It's called the Blackout, that also selected in the lineup for the 100% Manusia Film Festival. And we're also talking about one Indonesian film that got selected, which very much actually at the moment, King, it's very much related to the issue, because just a couple days ago, our ministry has just released about a law that also to protect about the violates in the schools and the campus university. And this is something that relates, we think it's a very fit with Anissa Ajam film, My Clouded Mind.
Mhm.
So we are happy to put them in our selection too, and to be screened and to be premiered in 100% Manusia Film Festival. I understand that you also that the film is going to be screened in some other film festival in Indonesia, right? If I'm not mistaken, was it like Feminist or something like that?
Yep, it's going to be screened by Jakarta feminist.
Yeah, Jakarta
They
feminist.
also, yeah, they are also going to have a series of screenings
Right.
leading to the Human Rights Commemoration Day on December 10th. Yeah,
Yes. Yes. So and then also, uh, my clouded mind is one of the two animation, right? Because you have two animation with the Indian one.
yeah.
That's yeah in the eighth in the
Actually,
eighth.
three.
Oh, with
The Offensive Internet,
the
another
one
film from Malaysia, is
Malaysia.
also
Yes.
yeah, an animated film.
Yes, that's also interesting one. So yeah, so there will be four films. We have revealed three titles tonight, and then the, the last one is Patani Calling. So Patani Calling is
Yeah.
very interesting, also because this actually reveals the different side of Thailand that
Mhm.
less heard, especially here in Indonesia.
Yeah. A lot of people in our region in Southeast Asia forget the fact that the southern border provinces of Thailand have been under martial law for many years now. Of course, the government is saying that they're trying to curb the ongoing Muslim separatist insurgency in the southern border provinces. But yep, that's one thing. Not a lot of people know about that. And of course, certainly, many people, from what I understood, even in Thailand, do not understand that to be able to buy a SIM card in those
Area.
southern border provinces, yeah, you need to have, um, aside from your personal information,
Yeah.
of course, biometrics, eyes are scanned,
Right.
fingerprints, and all that, just to be able to buy a SIM card, to be able to communicate to your family or have access to, online technologies. And of course, given that kind of infringement to their human rights, the film reveals that there are digital rebels, who are not comfortable to be under those circumstances. It's for me. It's the film is well shot. It's a very good artistic and dramatic take about the situation of Muslims in those area in Thailand. Yep.
Yes, I think this will give also other information. And as you said, it is something that probably less heard and also, but still the violation is there. It is also something that uh, mostly in Indonesia, people doesn't know that also in the southern part of Philippines, there are also Muslim populations, and then probably also some other stories that could rise up from there. So this is something to look forward to. And there's actually one question that has been collected by the team. Is basically, okay, I'm just going to read. Oh, so this is basically about the programming short films. They were asking about how do we select. Okay, how do we select the short films that are going to be screened in 100% Manusia Film Festival? So yes, what we do in 100% Manusia Film Festival, we watch all the films that submitted, or what we ask from. For example, like with King, we ask from King, all the screeners, and then we watch them together. And what makes it different than other film festival is that we have a team of programmers and the decision has to be made collectively. This of course will take some time, but the thing that we want to emphasize here is that the film has to relate to voice out human rights issues. It can be from any other part of layer. For example, the panulukan. This is something that we've never seen, the misuse of the media, the violation which create a hoax, for example, or creates trigger anger, and then apparently to even more supporting the law that's basically killing people. This is something that we would like to portray more, to voice out more, and And also for my clouded mind, cybersexual. This is something that felt close to home, but probably no one dares to speak about it. So this is something that we also look forward in short films. It doesn't have to be something that your film doesn't have to be something that out of yeah, something that grander or it has to be something that felt close to you, close to what you want to voice out. It has to be something that made from your heart. So this is something that we look actually, and this is can be seen in all the 8 short films. We only select 4 because the 4 of them. Because we don't have so many slots on short films. That's actually the reality. And this their film is going to be paired with other international short films in the program called 100% All Around the World, and we will have a talk with the filmmakers. All the 4 filmmakers have already confirmed, so I'm happy to hear that. Yes, from all these 4 films, and we will have a talk with them during the festival, and you can ask about their films even more to Anissa Ajam, Dekat Legaspi, Vihi Tradunde, and what's the other one? The Anonymous. No, 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 not the Anonymous though. We tried, but no, we don't want to. We don't want to put the anonymous in danger. No, 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 no. No, this is interesting because in the past we also have Indonesian filmmaker that is also being anonymous in revealing about what happened in 1965. So this is something that we concern, and this is also something that we protect and we respect to the filmmakers, but we still also want to screen the film so you can watch the film. It's called Blackout in 100% Manusia Film Festival. It's going to be screened on the 26th of November in a festival scope, but you can book the ticket tomorrow starting at 4 p.m. Yeah, starting at 4 p.m. It's all for free of charge, and you can watch it at festival scope during the scheduled date. And yes, and now, King, I think I would like to know what is your next agenda after releasing this. I understand that you earlier said that the film is going to be screened publicly in Cinemata, and it's going to be. Do you have already the dates, like maybe in December or January?
Yeah, we the 8 films we will be engaged in this offering to the rest of the world on December 10th. So all the 8 films will be available for public screening in Cinemata by then. But of course, before December 10, um, there are about 12 other community screenings that will happen to screen the film collection. And just like in Manisaya Film Festival, we gave our screening partner the opportunity to curate the selection of films that they want to screen in their festival or in their screening activity. Because, of course, for one, it was a practical decision and a practical
Yes.
recommendation coming from us. Because we gave the filmmakers the opportunity to produce 5 to 15 minute films. And they were all hardworking and they really wanted to tell their story. So none of them took the really short route. So the average running time of the film is about 12 to 13 minutes. So if you screen 8 films in one sitting, that'll be like 90 plus minutes. And
Yes.
we also need to understand that, especially for online situations,
Yeah.
we can only demand much time to viewers. And of course, we also want talkback sessions and Q&As to happen. So yeah, screening partners have the opportunity to choose which of the 8 films they want to screen because they also understand the community better more than us.
Mm.
So that's also the idea behind it. I believe there are about 2 or 3 offline screenings. We're also excited about that.
Nice.
Initially, I I was the whole time, each time we're talking about offline screening, I'm feeling
Yes,
surprised because it's actually happening.
I
It
know.
can
Yeah,
happen. Yeah, you know. So at the same time, hearing about projectors, hearing about resolutions and file sizes for screening, it's becoming a bit alien and strange when, in the past years, we're very familiar with this and we
I
know that
know.
a lot.
Yeah,
But yeah, of course, those kinds of, I'm hoping that offline happenings continue and wish that, of course, we get through this pandemic, once and for all. Hopefully, keeping our fingers crossed. So, yep, that's, yeah. So the short answer is there will be about 12 or more community
great.
screenings that will
That's all.
happen. And
Cool.
it can continue until January. Um, just last week, we had a meeting with the university from Indonesia, and there's a 99% chance that it's going to be an offline screening in their campus towards the end of January. So, community screenings will still happen, but at some point, we need to upload the films in Cinemata so that more people can watch it. But in
Yes.
case organizations still want to communicate and invite filmmakers for the talkback session, of course, that's still possible until the first quarter of next year.
Okay, so then they can still go to you to contact in cinemata.org, right? To submit their proposal if they want to screen all the films.
Yes, they can contact us in cinemata.org or in engagemedia.org.
Great. So yes, for everyone here, if you guys want to see or if you plan to have the films in your campus or to do an offline screening, you can basically contact them at the cinemata.org and you can see whether it is possible to do an offline screening because as you said, it's a strange term somehow. I mean, I don't know in Manila or Philippines. Is it already happening with the offline screening?
Uh, I think commercial theaters are beginning to open, of course, at the very limited capacity.
Right.
There's also a small chance that the Cultural Center of the Philippines may screen it for their
Cool.
human rights commemoration.
Yes.
So we'll know about that in the coming weeks. But
Yeah,
so
that
far in the Philippines, that's that promise of a possible offline screening, for tech meals.
yes. I mean that would be on December, right, for the Human Rights Day. That's
Yes.
Yes, that's good because here we've seen some of the festival going to be in an offline screening by early December, and then there are also some community screening that also going offline. And I attended some of them, but I felt like this is strange.
Oh,
Like yeah, having experience of running film festival for more than 15 years, being offline and now shifting to online, and then now again have to go
going
back
back
to
to offline.
yeah, this is something that's as you said strange, but I'm sure that
Yeah,
we are looking forward to do so. And
yes, agree.
but one last question is actually in bahasa, apakah masih menerima submission untuk film pendek? Oh, so the person was asking whether we are still receiving submission for short films. Unfortunately, not because we're going to announce the lineup by tomorrow in our press conference. But we do accept submission from everywhere, Indonesia or any part of the world. And please submit it to our website, 100% manusia.com if you want to. But right now we are not opening because the festival will start in 2 weeks. And this is giving me a headache because it's getting so yes, King Tang, I think we have already covered everything and we have already running out of time.
Yes. Yeah,
Thank you.
it was a fun conversation. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for spending an hour on your Sunday and greetings to your dog. What's his name?
Uh,
Bolsha?
yeah, Bolshi, she's sleeping. There were afternoon happenings earlier, so yeah, she's tired. I was hoping to have her with me, but Yeah, she's sleeping.
So you can post like in the poster with her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, King, for supporting our festival and also for having you here on Sunday. And I hope that you can still spend a lovely Sunday with your family in spite of taking 1 hour to talk about this,
Oh, yeah.
So yes,
It's
thank you
okay.
and good luck. Good luck with all the community screenings and also especially in December in Philippines to be screened on the Human Rights Day. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. Salamat ma'am to all our listeners and thank you so much. 100% Bisaya Film Festival.
Salamat, King. Thank you.
Bye. Good
Bye
night.
bye. So yes, thank you everyone for joining me. Terima kasih semuanya sudah bergabung dengan saya, Meninaputri Wismurti, film program director dari 100% Manusia Film Festival. Seperti yang saya umumkan tadi bahwa besok kami akan membuka semua line up dari film dan program fringe events yang akan terjadi di 100% Manusia Film Festival. Film festival sendiri akan dimulai dari tanggal 25 November sampai 1 Desember. Dan sampai tanggal 6 Desember kalian masih tetap bisa menonton film dan menikmati berbagai macam program acara lainnya yang kami siapkan. Walaupun festival nanti ditutup di tanggal 1 Desember. Untuk film-filmnya sendiri sudah bisa kalian booking mulai besok sore jam 5 setelah kami announce line up-nya di jam 4 sore di press conference. Untuk tadi saya sempat sedikit bocorin beberapa film pendek dari Tactiles Film yang akan diputar dan terpilih untuk diputar di salah satu program kami yaitu 100% all around the world yang berisikan international short films including those 4 titles that I've already mentioned. I'm not going to mention it again. You guys can go directly tomorrow to our website and also Festival Scope. If you have already the account from last year, jadi kalau kalian sudah punya account dari Festival Scope yang kalian gunakan untuk menonton film kami di 100% Manusia Film Festival tahun lalu yang juga going online, kalian masih bisa menggunakan akun tersebut. So you guys can still use that account to book the film starting tomorrow at 5 p.m. in the Festival Scope. Jadi jangan lupa besok langsung pantengin semua lini sosial media kami, lalu juga Festival Scope dan website kami untuk melihat apakah sudah bisa membooking film-filmnya. Dan kalau ada masalah jangan lupa langsung tanyakan, langsung DM ke akun festival kami di Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, di YouTube juga bisa. Dan kalau kalian mau nulis di website juga silakan. Kalau memang ada masalah dengan bookingan atau dengan film-film yang mau di-rent atau dengan cara mengakses festival scope-nya, kalian bisa nanti lihat di lini sosial media kami. Saya Meninaputri Wismurti undur diri. Sampai ketemu besok di konferensi pers 100% Manusia Film Festival 2021. And stay safe guys. Ciao.